Welcome back. My name's Jessica from Jessica's Craft Time, and today we're doing some more work on our embroidery, and you're learning to stitch as I go. So I've read over the instructions a little bit more. This blue is all water soluble. So what you do once you finish stitching is you leave it in the frame so that you can you don't get too many creases in it, and you submerge it in water and this blue will come off. So it's just there for a guide. Also, looking over the instructions, I never noticed this down the bottom, and it gives you a rough a rough idea on which stitches should be done in what order. I've done a few more than what's recommended, but that's okay. So I've done a little bit more of our satin stitch on the flowers here, and we've done the leaves as well. So now we're up to here, and they call it a cartwheel stitch. So the instructions are fairly easy to follow. On the on here you have the number here, which is indicated what number you should be using from your threads. Then you have what kind of stitch and how many strands, and it gives you basic instructions on the back. So let's start with this cartwheel. So we go up on the outside, down in the middle, and then before you pull it all the way back through, you come back up between your stitches. See how that's a loop there? And you pull it through. So then you go into the middle, back up on the edge, and pull it through your loop. Into the middle. I'm just holding it there with my thumb. Then back up along the side. Pull it through your strands and pull tight. So I'm just holding it with my thumb so I don't lose it. Into the middle. If I hold it with my thumb, I know that I've got enough to come back. I've got enough strands that I'm not going to pull too tight. Come back up through your stitches and pull tight. In through the middle. Come back up between your loop and pull tight. So I find it easier to turn my work than to try and change the angle that I'm working on. So we're coming back up between our stitches, into the middle, come back up between your stitches and pull. I'm not sure how we're going to go, because it did actually recommend that we do those flowers before we do these. Oh no, probably these and then the flowers. I'm just going to have to work around it as best I can because I've already done the flowers. So into the middle. Let's see if I can pull you down a little bit closer and you can see. Into the middle. Then I've got to just try and work around that red flower, so I probably should have done this first. Pull it up through your stitch, and going up through your stitch creates the, let's try and see if we can get that red behind in front. So in through the middle, and then you come back up, just creating a little stitch. I'm kind of following the lines on the work. Up through your stitch as you pull. That will create the outside line around the edge and your line in the middle. So we'll go again. In through the middle. Oops, we're hooked. Back through the top of the circle, pull. And you just keep going the same, in through the middle, back up, catch that loop, pull, in through the middle. Try not to get it, sorry, I'm wobbling. It's very hard to hold it still, and I don't own a, oops, we've got to see how it's all twisted here. Let's try and untwist it. Find my needle. I'm going to pull my needle up and go through the base between it. I've just pulled it down a little bit. And do one last one, in through the middle. Come back up right next to my first stitch. Back through those 2 loops there. And then to finish it off, I'm just going to go back through and close it off. Now it's not perfect, but I'm happy with it. And if you've been on the page on the channel for a little bit, I'm just going to try and put it down a little bit further and hold my hand steady on the table as best I can. I'm not, oh hang on, I did that wrong. I needed to come through the edge to start with, didn't I? Yes. So I've done a stitch wrong. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pull my needle off my strand of thread, flip it back over, pull it out, yeah, there you go, flip it back over, pull it back out, and rethread my strand. Rethread my strand. That way, I've fixed my mistake. All right. Let's try that again. So, to start a new circle, we're going to start on the outside. Come up where you want to start. Keep that loop. Down through the middle. Back up where you want that edge. And pull tight. Down through the middle. Back up. So once you get the hang of it, it took me a little bit to get the hang of this one. But once you get the hang of it, it's really easy. You're just going down to the middle, back up through the outside edge, and looping that thread. That way, you get the outside thread and the middle spoke of the, what do they call it? A cartwheel stitch. Turn your work as you go. Now here, my threads have twisted a little bit, but I'm just going to drop my needle, sorry. I'm just going to push it to the side, find where I want to come up, and then come back through. I'm going to do the same thing here and try and get under this green stitching I've already done. So that's probably where I needed to follow the picture at the bottom in what order to do things, but that's okay. No one's perfect. This is my first go at embroidery. I think I'm doing okay. I'd love to see if anyone has given some embroidery a try, or if you're if you already know how to do embroidery. I'd love to see what you're working on. In my description, there is a link to my Facebook page. And on that, you're able to pop me a photo of what you're working on. I've never been a huge fan of, never used to be a huge fan of needlework. I've done it for, yeah, I've done cross stitches before. I used to do a lot of long stitch. So yeah, I used to do a lot of long stitch. But I think as I've got older, as I've aged, I'm quite enjoying the hand stitching again, because it is a little bit slower paced than other crafts, and say sewing something that, you know, you see results pretty much straight away. That one was probably a little bit too tight. That's okay. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I've just been sitting there on the couch watching a show. It's a very interesting New Year's for me. I sat there crafting. Hubby sat there on the Xbox, and neither of us even had a drink. I think I've gone through the thread there. There you go, I wasn't paying attention. So I'm just going to pull it out again. And rethread. So yeah, it was a very different New Year's for us. First time in many years. I didn't even have a drink, but I enjoyed it. We stopped both what we were doing at midnight and watched the fireworks. But I think what I like about needlework is that I can get my favorite spot on the couch or my bed and just stitch where I find it very hard for my diamond painting. I know some people do it in bed, but I find it very hard to do it on my lap. I like to sit at a table to do that. So I think that's what I'm enjoying about the needlework at the moment, is the fact that, you know, I can sit in my comfy spot on the couch and watch some TV, or in bed and watch some TV in the bedroom and just stitch. The one thing that does really suck for me excuse me, is that I get motion sickness in the car. It's really sad. I can't scroll on my phone. I can't do anything really other than looking out the window, and it really sucks. I tried doing my cross stitch in the car the other day. No, I just started feeling sick. I'm like, damn it, we spend a lot of time in our car. We do a fair bit of traveling. We were just, oh, I've got another one to do. We were just up the hills on the weekend, up in the Blue Mountains, and it's about a 2-hour drive, and I'm like, how much stitching could I get done in 2 hours? But no, my body doesn't like me. Can't stitch in the car. And hubby won't let me try and diamond paint. He won't even let me attempt it, because normally we are in his car, and he's like, no way are you bringing all those drills into my car. If we hit a bump, they're going all over my car, and I'm just not having it. So I don't know, has anyone ever tried diamond painting as a passenger in the car? Obviously not while you're driving. But has anyone tried it? I'd love to hear. Did it work? Was it successful? But yeah, I can't read. I can't scroll on the phone. I now know I can't cross stitch without feeling sick. And as my family live interstate, we do travel interstate regularly, so, you know, 12-hour days in the car would really work. Would be really good if I could stitch in the car. But I'll have to try it out on the highway. A lot of my issues is if we're bending or turning corners, and once you're out on the highway, you don't really have any corners to turn. Not that are significant, like turn at a right angle or anything, so that might work. But yeah, this is the cartwheel. So I hope you enjoy that. We're getting there. I'm going to go and do a little bit more stitching, and there's a couple more stitches left on this to go. Let me flip over the instructions. I think it's just the cobweb rose we've got left, which is the last thing to do on here, other than some more satin stitches. Yeah, so these are, that's the cobweb rose, that one, and that one. But then these are all French, where are we? These are all French knots. French knot, French knot, French knot, and satin stitch. So next time you see this, we'll just be down to one more stitch to do, and it'll be done. And then we'll have to, then you'll have to keep an eye out for the whip and chat to see it finished, and I'll wash off the blue. Hopefully it comes out and we can see it finish, and then we might get stuck into thinking of starting the beaded embroidery. That was going to be my next project, the beaded embroidery, I think. I've got the patchworks, the peppermint purple cell going. And if you want to see my progress of that each week, just jump onto my whip and chat. So I've got that going, and I've got my temperature cross stitch going, which that's going to take some time to do. So maybe the beaded cross stitch. So there you go. That's what we are up to so far, and that's what we're going to finish with. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Take care. Bye for now.